Chapter 1110. The Straw Hats are dead. Yeah, I know that's not true per se, but let's be honest. This situation that they're in is not necessarily the best. Let's take a look. Last time we left off in chapter 1109, there was a lot going on. Sanji was running with Vegapunk. There were some issues going on. The five elders said, we're on the way. We're going to go back you up, Saturn, on the island of Egghead. And that's the last thing we saw. Kizaru was heading to HR to file his 2-week notice and try to, make sure his retirement was the way it needed to be. A lot of this stuff doesn't matter. Really, a lot of the stuff on the first couple pages doesn't matter. But we do see a portal, sort of runes on the ground, the same rune that Saint Saturn used. And now we see that the five elders have transported themselves in their Zoan forms to where Saint Saturn is, and they look to be even larger than Saturn. We get to see what they have. So now we know that all five of the five elders ate Zoan fruits, and we're believing it's got to be some sort of mythical Zoan, because these ain't regular Zoans. We've got Gyuki, which is Saint Saturn's transformation. Itsumade, which is Mars's transformation. Feng Shi, I might be butchering that, which is Saint Mercury's transformation. Bakatsu, which is Saint Nusjuro's transformation, might still be butchering. Saint Peter, transformed into a sandworm. What? So I want to talk about a comment that was posted in my last One Piece breakdown video, 1109, and this is what the comment read. Also, Saturn confirmed over YC1 level even without regen. With regen, he's probably Admiral level. I want that to sink in a little bit, because I didn't know what YC1 meant. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know what that meant. Okay, I watch One Piece, I read One Piece, I participate in the One Piece conversations and discussions, but I don't know about all the lingo. I don't. So this comment had me diving through the subreddits of One Piece. I was looking. I really was. I was like, what does this mean? YC1? And that's when I came to find out that YC levels are means of categorizing the strengths of individuals. So YC 1, 2, 3, and 4 stands for Yonko Commander. So we've got Yonko Commander 1, which would be equivalent to the right-hand man or right-hand person of a Yonko. So in this situation, Luffy's YC1 would be like Zoro. YC2 would be like Sanji. I disagree with that. At least I would disagree with that. Let's just continue, and I'll swing back around on that. So we see the Addams family come through, a bunch of ragtag, whatever these are, and they get to work. I mean, they waste no time. So Nushiro, which is the skeletal horse, immediately, and I mean without hesitation, scurries across the island and starts slicing and dicing every single pacifista. The soldiers are on the sidelines like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. The pacifistas are getting destroyed. What is happening? This is great stuff. This is what we need. This is the turn of the table. Who's doing it? I don't know. I see some sort of skeletal horse running around, but I mean, I can't really make it out. And then they take a look at the pacifista, like, oh, it got sliced open. And someone's like, no, it didn't. It's frozen. So it looks like Nushiro's got some sword freeze abilities, which is very reminiscent of one of my favorite Straw Hats, Brook. And by one of my favorite, I'd say he's like 5th favorite, which at that point really isn't even favorite. Whatever. So there are two thought processes that are happening simultaneously on this page of page 10 and 11. We've got Sanji, and he's like, keep in mind, this is a transponder snail. My man pulls it out. Yo, anybody there? We need y'all to leave now. We ran out of time, okay? It's over. If you stay there any longer, we can't promise you safety. We gotta get out of here. I would love to stay, but not really. Vegapunk's dead. There are 5 monsters flying around, doing whatever. There's a bird flying up to you right now. You don't want that action. One of the Marines in general was like, kill Bonnie. So that's what everyone's missions is to do those things. So then we see the bird fly directly into the barrier that is up in the, I think, the lava phase, and just explodes. And we don't even, that's the end. That's it. That's all we see from the bird. We don't see the bird anymore throughout the rest of the manga chapter at all. Spoiler, Peter is the sandworm. He just burrows into the ground. And Luffy's like, an earthworm? Which is a pretty reasonable response, all right? The first four seem like some monsters, and then this thing just seems like an oversized earthworm. Honestly, it burrows into the ground and starts doing whatever it does down there. Usopp picks up the phone and is like, Sanji, I'm glad you called, but what do you want us to do? All right, we just got back. We're safe right now. We're honestly ready to depart whenever y'all get here, okay? Usopp's like, yeah, we're good to go. The only issue is Zoro and Jinbe aren't back yet. It's just Zoro, Jinbe, Sanji, and Luffy who haven't been back. We can't leave without y'all. Not again. Not again. Jinbei's like, you know what? I get it. I get the urgency. We gotta bounce. We gotta move. I understand. I'm gonna go get Zoro. He was fighting Lucci. If he's not done with that fight, he's coming with me regardless. We don't have time for this. So then we see Zoro fighting Lucci still, which I've seen a lot of discourse over this, like, oh my gosh, why is Zoro struggling with Lucci? Why is Zoro still fighting Lucci and look like he's actually starting to lose a little bit? I don't understand. People were very baffled by it. And this fight was hyped up because we're like, oh my gosh, Rob Lucci was the biggest fighter in Water 7 and Enies Lobby. This is somebody that's crazy. We're looking forward to his return. And then they bring out Zoro and we're like, oh my gosh, Lucci's so strong now that he's on par with some of the Straw Hats that Zoro's going to have to fight him. Oh my gosh. And a lot of people said that the fight choreography was pretty upsetting and that Oda maybe just didn't want to continue the fight the way that he originally wanted to and just kind of wanted to get rid of it. Which, I mean, you can see it's kind of the truth here. Because what happens isn't too enticing, maybe. But maybe y'all aren't looking at it right. The fact that Zoro keeps getting this sword knocked out of his hand is pretty upsetting. To be honest, I think some of y'all are looking at it the wrong way. Zoro gets this blade knocked out of his hand. I mean, it goes flying. Somehow, his sword comes back to his hand. He's able to catch his sword. And some people say, oh, I don't like how Zoro was able to just catch his sword. Maybe it's something different. The sword flies out of his hand and maybe Zoro was able to call it back using haki or something. It's a stretch, but that's the only thing I can make sense of here to try and think. Maybe Oda knew what he was doing? I don't know. Sanji's on the phone with Jinbe, and Jinbe is like, yeah, I found him. He's still fighting Lucci. Sanji's like, yo, still? He didn't wrap that up? He's a liability. Zoro hears that. I don't know what goes on in his mind. He clicks. He's like, I'm done. I'm not going to be called a liability by Curly Brow. No siree. Not by Lover Boy. I'm on it. Catches his sword, activates a new move called 3 Sword Style Spot Hunt. We're done with that. We end up going right back. Immediately after that. Immediately after Zoro puts the kibosh on Lucci, slices him up, takes him out the fight, we jump right back over to Luffy, who gets eaten by St. Peter, the sandworm. What? Eaten, gobbled up. Nom, 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 nom. Nom, 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 nom. Dory and Broggy say, you saw that? And they're like, yo, I saw it. That's a man that's not supposed to be in dark places. That's the sun god. Free my mans. They slice him open with a sun saw, cut open St. Peter. Chop him right at I guess earthworms don't really have necks. Just chop him in half. Luffy's out. And he's like, oh my gosh. What are y'all doing here? What's up? We had to come scoop you and your squad because we heard you was going through it. And that's how the chapter ends. Truthfully. And I want to talk about some things. I do. I really do. I say this again. If Saint Saturn is YC 1 level, Yonko Commander 1 level, or equivalent to Zoro, I don't think Zoro should even be UIC 1 at this point. Or maybe he should be 2 and make Sanji 1 because he was struggling for a while. He did a lot of nothing this arc. It's me personally. I prefer Sanji over Zoro anyways. And this solidified a lot of my reasoning. I don't like Zoro as much. I do like Sanji more. We've seen 4 out of the 5 elders do something in battle. We saw Noshiro zoom around in a hybrid form, slicing and dicing things, creating ice all around them, kind of like Brook does. Then we had already seen, Saint Saturn go around and do his blah, 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 blah. Saint Peter started eating people, and then the bird, Big Bird, just crashed into a barrier and blew up. So, we've seen something from all of them. It's just, whether or not it's impressive or not is just something entirely different. I don't really care, to be honest, about what's going on with Big Bird. I I don't know. Mercury, who is the big boar, didn't do anything. He's kind of just sitting there. Just literally standing there. Mars, who is big bird, just crashed into the thing. Yeah, so again, I stand by what I said. The other 4 elders look significantly stronger than Saturn. Saturn just sucks. I want to talk about Jinbe. I feel so bad for Jinbe. I really do. And some of you are like, why do you feel bad for Jinbe? Jinbe met Luffy in Impel Down and heard a lot about him from Ace. Jinbe was like, yo, I'm locked up. Luffy said, I'll free you. From there, Jinbe was like, this guy's something different. I'm going to follow him. They go through Impel Down, go through Marineford, do what they need to do. Jinbe saves Luffy. Luffy's like, yo, Jinbe, join my crew. Jinbe said, I would, but I got to do something first. 2 years pass. Jinbe goes to Fishman Island. The Straw Hats end up at Fishman Island. Jinbe's like, I would join you, but I have to go to Big Mom and sever my ties with her, and because I need to pledge my allegiance to you. Jinbe goes to Whole Cake Island. He's like, yo, Big Mom, I'm done. Finito finished. I'm with the Straw Hats now. It's over. Big Mom's like, you're not leaving. Luffy comes through, scoops him up and said, all right, Jinbe, we're out. Jinbe follows Luffy out of Whole Cake Island. And he has to man the ship as the helmsman with no captain on board. Starts doing his thing. After he went through all of this Whole Cake nonsense and fighting Big Mom, he starts whipping it around. And he's grabbing the strings and the ropes, and he's grabbing the ropes over here, and he's pulling in the sails, and he's like, this is a good ship. And he's just sailing through the ocean. I mean, Jinbe was getting into it. He was really like, and he got them to the destination. He was like, where are we going? We're going to Wano? Roger that. So Jinbe gets added to the crew during a time when the whole crew's not even there. So Luffy says, you know what? I'm the strongest on the team. And the second strongest Zoro's not here. Jinbe, I need you to sail my ship from Whole Cake Island with an emperor chasing you all the way over to Wano. I'll be on the ship soon, eventually, maybe not. Don't worry about it. Jinbe he has to do this. He's like, well, this is my captain now. This will be my captain. This is me showing my allegiance. Let me get them there. Sails them as Big Mom is chasing them. He gets to Wano, and he's like, all right, how much time do we have? They're like, not that much time. Some time flies by, and they get into an actual war when Big Mom shows up, and Kaido's there. They're fighting Big Mom's pirates, Kaido's beast pirates, and they're just fighting everybody. I mean, everyone's throwing hands with everybody. Everyone's just doing everything. Everyone's fighting everybody. And Jinbe's like, this is the crew that I'm with now. They're like, so then Luffy's like, yo, Jinbe, we're gonna hold a toast for you, but after we beat Kaido. Let's go fight Kaido. He goes up there, Luffy dies. Jinbe's like, well, golly, I just joined a new crew and now my crew captain died. But he comes back as a god, and Jinbe's like, you were a god this whole time? Well, ain't that something? Looks at Sanji, and Sanji's like, yeah, you know that my family are robotic. Now I'm robotic or cybernetic now. I got some augmentations. He looks at him and is like, wait, what? Then Robin turns into a demon. Everyone's dying of some plague. Chopper fixes it. He looks at Zoro. Zoro claps an endangered species. And he's like, what? Then he sees two other pirates, part of the worst generation, Kid and Law, take down Big Mom. And he's like, well, dang, I'm glad I left that pirate crew. Then they're like, all right, let's get out of here. My boy Jinbe is like, all right, well, we just took out two of them, two emperors. Now you're an emperor and a god now, apparently, Luffy. Where are we headed to next? They start sailing. Jinbe looks at Frankie. He's like, yo, you got a nice ship. I sailed it once. It was nice. Frankie looks at him. He says, honestly, you're the best person I've ever seen whip this ship around. I built it. You can sail it. You're a great man. He's like, thanks. You're a great man, too. Jinbe is now part of the crew of the old heads. Jinbe, Frankie, and Robin, who have to keep the crew together. Some of y'all are like, what about Brook? What about him? The dude's he's literally a goofball, which is not saying he's bad. He's just a goofball. He doesn't take anything serious. Fasting forward. We get to Egghead, and Jinbe's like, all right, golly, all right, I just joined the crew. We just finished our toast of adding me to the crew. I'm glad to be here, y'all. And they're like, oh, man. Oh, this is Vegapunk? This place looks kind of cool. Is that a Buster Call? Are those the Marines? Kizaru? Pacifistas? Seraphim? Huh? Lucci? Kaku? Who's Lucci and Kaku? Luffy, you know Lucci and Kaku? How do you know about Lucci and Kaku? Wait, what? You did what? Y'all fought in Enies lobby? You already went through a buster call in Enies lobby? I did read about that. There's a buster call happening now? Wait a minute, what? Oh my gosh. All right, well then let's get out of here. Is that one of the 5 elders? Okay, that's cool. Yo, Sanji, we do need about, huh? What do you mean all 5 of the 5 elders are there? What do you, what? We gotta get out of here ASAP. Oh my gosh. Wait, what? Zoro's not here? Oh my, I'll go get Zoro then. All right, let me go run and get Zoro. Bro, Jinbe just joined the crew and he has gone through 3 of their hardest arcs ever. And my man, Jinbe, is like, why couldn't I be here during the fun times? Like Sky Island or Alabasta. Or maybe that one arc where that dude with the long nose and the slow fruit came around and they just had to do contests and games in order to proceed. Why couldn't I be part of that? All I'm saying is the Straw Hats are not looking like they're in the best position to do what they need to do. Jinbe is definitely in a piece where he's like, I am very sad and I'm very upset. And I'm here to die, ride or die with you all. But golly, you could have gave me a little bit more time to get accustomed to everything. Threw him right into the fire. Honestly, I will say I love how people don't ask Jinbe to do anything. He just volunteers himself. He's like, oh, well, I'll do it. They're like, oh, yeah, Jinbe and Zoro's not back. Zoro's not back? I'll go grab him. Oh, okay, cool. You need the ship sailed? I can sail the ship. Oh, okay, cool. Like, Jinbe's just down. He's like, yeah, I'll do whatever you need me to do. I'm that guy. But yeah, again, this chapter is pretty cool. 1,110. But I think the Straw Hats are really going to go through some crazy times. I think Jinbe is not way in over his head, but I think he's going through a lot. And no one's checking in on my mans. Zoro sucks. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen in this next chapter. 1111. And trust me, I'm going to try and get that one out earlier rather than later because I am, again, excited for that chapter. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what is going to happen to the crew and how they're going to get out of this one with all 5 of the elders, buster calls, pacifistas, and all this other stuff going on. I want to know how they're able to get out of there and make it back safely. This is me playing, or this was me reacting to the new Dragon Ball Sparking Zero trailer. It was fire. I hope I'm pointing to the right side. It might be on this side. I don't know which side. It's in one of these corners. If you already saw that, then check this out. Again, one of the top corners. I played Outlast Trials with the fellas, and we're actually going to try and do part 2 sometime relatively soon. If you don't know what I talked about in any of these videos, and you're like, what are you even yapping about? Then that means you got to check out the last video, which I'm also going to put up here. This was the previous one, Manga Breakdown 1109. We're going to start getting to the point where we start busting out jokes. You're going to start understanding my takes, how I feel about certain characters, inside jokes. You don't want to miss out on that. You tune into like 11... you tune into like 11:15, and then you're like, I don't know what he said. And someone else in the comments is like, that's because you didn't check
out 11:11. You didn't check out chapter 11:10 review breakdown at 10 minutes and 23 seconds. He made this joke. You weren't there.
You don't want to be that person, all right? Oh, and also there was a comment that put down on one of my last videos that I made where I was watching Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Somebody said, yo, I don't know how you only have one view on this. You look like you have so much potential and all that jazz. I'm following you and subscribing you. So to that person, if you're seeing this video, I appreciate you so much as I appreciate every single other person who watches and chooses to tune in. I love each and every one of you all. You all matter. It's your boy Yield, and I am out of here to try and go do some great things. Good night. I'm sorry for wasting your time.